Caroline Herschel became famous for her scientific work and was awarded a gold medal by the Parisian Academy of Sciences, which was presented to her by the King of Prussia. She was appointed to the Royal Irish Academy of Sciences and made an honorary member of England's Royal Astronomical Society. Caroline Lucretia Herschel was born on March 16, 1750, in Hanover, Germany. She died January 9, 1848. She was a British astronomer who was a pioneer in the field and is considered the first professional female astronomer. Her brother William Herschel's reputation as a telescope maker grew to such an extent that he quit his job as a musician and devoted all of his time to the making of telescopes and astronomy. Caroline began to help her brother in the manufacture of telescopes and to share his passion for astronomy. Caroline first served as her brother's apprentice, then began to function more and more on her own. She helped her brother develop the modern mathematical approach to astronomy. She made important contributions to the work of her brother, executing many of the calculations connected with his studies. In 1784, she became the first woman to discover a comet, and hence over the next 11 years, she spotted 11 other comets. She also detected by telescope 3 nebulae. In 1783, Caroline moved from Germany to England to join her brother William Herschel in 1772. Caroline had been unhappy at home. Her father, who had always encouraged the education of his children, had died. Her mother wasn't fond of education and expected Caroline to take care of the house. In 1772, her brother William took her to Bath, England, where he established himself as a teacher of music, where Caroline trained and performed successfully as a singer. In addition, William tutored her in mathematics. The siblings gave their last public musical performance in 1782, where her brother accepted the private office of court astronomer to George III. The previous year, William had discovered the planet Uranus. In 1787, the king gave her annual pension of £3 in her capacity as her brother's assistant, and thus she became the first professional female astronomer. She earned it by being her brother's assistant, but proved her worth in the knowledge of astronomy and finding nebula. Her knowledge of mathematics and music also added to her skill set. She returned to Hanover after William's death in 1822 and soon completed the catalogue of 2,500 nebulae and many star clusters. In 1828, when she was 77, the Astronomical Society awarded her its gold medal for an unpublished revision and reorganization of her work. She lived some 20 years longer and continued to receive the respect and admiration of both scientists and the general public.
Dorothy Crawford Hodgkin was born on the 12th of May in the year 1910 in the city of Cairo. She was fascinated by chemistry, and in particular in crystals, at the tender age of 10. Dr. A.F. Joseph, an acquaintance of her parents in Sudan, had influenced her to a great deal as she introduced her to compounds as well as assisted in analyzing ilmenite. Hodgkin attended Sir John Lemon School in Beccles in 1921 to 1928. Dorothy, along with a young girl by the name of Nora Posse, were the only two girls who were permitted to be in a chemistry class with boys at the school. Having completed school, Dorothy decided to pursue chemistry and biochemistry at college. Dorothy studied at Oxford and Somerville College from 1928 to 1932. In her first 2 semesters, Dorothy joined archaeology and chemistry, where she examined glass tesserae from the city of Jerash with E.G.J. Hartley. Additionally, Doughty studied a specialized course in crystallography, where she decided to study X-ray crystallography. She began this in the Part 2 of chemistry alongside H.M. Powell as the first scholar to investigate the thallium dichel halides after spending a brief time at Professor Victor Goldschmidt's laboratory in Heidelberg. In 1934, she started research which was later delayed, as the accessible X-ray crystallography methods were incapable in dealing with a difficult molecule. As she approached the completion of her PhD, Doughty illustrated that the initial protein had a regular molecular structure. This was later presented with a fellowship from Somerville College. In 1934, Doughty had decided to return to Oxford, where she would eventually go on to retire in 1977. She was a pioneer in X-ray crystallography, as she had been decorated with high-profile discoveries. Her first discovery was the atomic structure of penicillin in 1945. However, her work was not published until 1949. She went on to publish the structure of vitamin B12 in 1954. This marvelous work was done in collaboration with a man by the name of Ken Trueblood at the University of California, Los Angeles, as he allowed Doughty access to more sophisticated computing power. This type of access was not available to her in Oxford. Because of this discovery, she went on to become the third woman to ever win a Nobel Prize in chemistry. Doughty also influenced crystallography in India. She calculated the strength of carboric acid, which gave rise to the ability to show the relatively precise phase angles in the third-dimensional Fourier map. This left nearly no uncertainty of the right formulation of the chemical structure.
Marie Curie was born in 1867 to the country of Warsaw in Poland. There she grew with her parents and received elementary and secondary education from the local school, but her scientific training was done by her father. While at school, she was a member of the Student Revolutionary Organization. Through that, she realized it was necessary to leave the country Warsaw, and she immigrated to Krakow. She later moved to Paris for the purpose of completing her studies at the university known as Sorbonne. There, she later got her Licentiateship of Physics and the Mathematical Science. Licentiateship is one level below doctor for acquiring a license from a university. Studying at Sorbonne allowed her to meet her husband, Pierre Curie, who was a professor at the School of Physics in the year 1894. The following year, 1895, they got married and lived in Paris. In 1896, Anthony Henry Becquerel's discovery on radium was quite an inspiration for Curie, in that her research and analysis at that point in time which gave birth to the discovery of polonium, which is named after Marie Curie's birth country and radium. After their discovery of polonium, she worked on the ways through which she could isolate pure non-chloride radium from the ore pitch blende, whilst Pierre focused his studies on the physical properties of these new elements. She later surpassed her husband and became the head of physics laboratory and gained her Doctor of Science in the year 1903, which was also the year when she acquired her first Nobel Prize together with her husband Anne Becquerel due to their joint studies in the field of spontaneous radiation, as she was the first woman in history to ever receive a Nobel Prize. 3 years later, Pierre Curie died in a street accident, which was his accident, and his body was identified as partially crushed. Even though Pierre's death affected Marie Curie, she did not let it go to the point where it affected her work. She still persisted on and took her place, becoming the first woman to take the position of the Professor of General Physics in the Faculty of Sciences at Sorbonne. Using pitch blende to isolate radium, of which uranium was the key element in which it was contained in 1910, Marie successfully separated pure metallic radium and was the sole recipient to receive the second Nobel Prize. Through research and experiment, she was able to later uncover that these radioactive compounds could be used for medicinal purposes such as the treatment of tumors. A quote by Marie Curie, which has a lot of meaning even to this modern day, was, "One never notices what has been done, one can only see what remains to be done." Marie Curie later died in 1934 due to leukemia caused by at least 2 decades of exposure to radioactive material.